All right, let's just jump right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at an intellectual architecture that is, well, it's ancient, but it's also strikingly modern. We are talking about Orunmila and the Ifa system. Now, if you're familiar with the Yoruba tradition, you probably know Orunmila as the Orisha of wisdom, knowledge, and divination. But we aren't just looking at him as a mythical figure today. Nope, we're examining him as the mastermind behind a rigorously systematic philosophy. His teachings represent a framework that actually predates and perfectly parallels some of the biggest core inquiries of Western and Eastern thought. Honestly, it is basically the ultimate philosophical operating system. And here's a pretty wild technological parallel for you. When we think of binary logic today, our brains immediately go to modern computing, right? Ones and zeros making up everything we do digitally. But long before the very first computer was even a thought, the Ifa system was already mapping out the universe's complexities and, really, the whole of the human experience using its own incredibly sophisticated binary structure. It's a completely different way to look at ancient wisdom, and it reveals this deeply analytical approach to organizing reality. So how exactly did they store all of this complex data? That is where the Odu Ifa comes in. And let's be clear, this isn't just a collection of loose parables. The Odu Ifa was essentially a massive pre-digital database. It's made up of 256 distinct volumes, called Odu, and inside those are thousands of verses, or ise. It is a comprehensive library covering everything from history and science to ethics and psychology. Now, because the system predates widespread written text in the region, just imagine having to download a 256-volume encyclopedia directly into your brain. Seriously, this entire database was maintained through immense, rigorous oral memorization. It's mind-blowing. Okay, let's move into Section 1, the core pillars. It's time to upgrade our mental software. The very first pillar here is wonderfully direct. Knowledge is useless without character. Now, a lot of Western philosophy prioritizes logic and pure intellect above everything else, right? But Orunmila's philosophy centers on something called Iwa Pele, which translates to gentle or good character. In the Ifa system, you could have the most brilliant intellect in the world, but it means absolutely nothing. Like, you are literally considered a failure if you don't pair that intellect with a balanced character. Success isn't measured by how much wealth you have or how much raw brain power you possess. It's measured by how your behavior aligns with the natural order. In fact, Ifa considers your character to be the true beauty of a human being. Let's build on that with the second pillar. Enter Ori, which translates to inner consciousness, or the inner head. This is where Orunmila introduces a seriously sophisticated take on that classic debate of determinism versus free will. The philosophy says that we're all born with a chosen destiny, a potential. But the catch is, we kind of forget it the second we enter the world. And here is the really fascinating part. That destiny doesn't just automatically happen to you. You have to actively participate. Specifically, you need your wisdom and that good character we just talked about, your Iwa Pele, to actually manifest it. So you aren't just a passive observer waiting around for fate to happen. You're an active co-creator of your own life. And the third pillar pulls all of this into one massive interconnected view: holistic ecology. Orunmila's teachings make it clear that humans, our ancestors, and nature itself aren't separate things. We all form a single, breathing ecosystem. And the logical conclusion of this eco-philosophy is super practical. Basically, harming your community or trashing your environment is, quite literally, a form of self-destruction. You just can't damage one part of the system without damaging yourself in the process. Moving on to Section 2, the ultimate philosophical bout: Orunmila versus Socrates. Now, both of these heavyweights shifted their societies toward the pursuit of truth, but how they went about it couldn't have been more different. In one corner, you have Socrates, famous for the Socratic method. For him, philosophy was all about public debate. It was a cooperative, argumentative dialogue aimed at stripping away false beliefs until you hit the truth. In the other corner, Orunmila's method is the system of Ifa divination. This involves a ritual process, often using palm nuts or a chain, but at its core, it's a highly diagnostic philosophy. It's a dialogue between the individual, the priest, and those binary signatures of the Odu. So, while both aim to uncover truths you might be completely blind to, Orunmila uses a structured, diagnostic system rather than just duking it out in a verbal debate. Socrates famously gave us the maxim, "The unexamined life is not worth living." He prioritized knowing thyself by analyzing your own mind and moral compass purely through human reason. Orunmila shifts that focus in a subtle but really profound way to know thy destiny. Remember that concept of Ori?
Well, for ORUNMILA, philosophy is the act of realignment. Knowing yourself actually means actively realigning your character with that divine, pre-chosen purpose you forgot when you were born.
And the contrast really pops when you look at their ethics. Socrates spent a ton of time, like in Plato's Republic, searching for a universal definition of justice. He essentially intellectualizes goodness. He figured, hey, if you truly know what good is, you'll naturally act good. Therefore, evil is just ignorance. Or in Mila, on the flip side, demands practical good character, iwa pale. It is not just about knowing what's good in your head. It's about the everyday practice of patience, humility, and respecting your community. For Ifa, you can literally be the smartest person in the room, but if you lack patience and humility, you've missed the mark completely.
Even the way their teaching survived is a stark contrast. Socrates famously wrote absolutely nothing down. He actually viewed written text as dead because it couldn't defend itself in an argument. We literally only know his thoughts because of his students, like Plato. ORUNMILA'S teachings were also preserved orally, but the scale? It's on another level entirely. The 256 Odu form a systematically structured oral corpus. We are talking years and years of strict, exact memorization by initiates just to ensure the text stayed perfectly unchanged across generations. It is an unbelievably rigorous method of keeping knowledge alive.
So, if we put these traditions side by side, it breaks down like this. Socrates aims for intellectual clarity, while ORUNMILA is going for spiritual and character alignment. Socrates pulls his wisdom from human reason and logic, whereas ORUNMILA relies on systematic observation and divine revelation. When it comes to the self, Socrates is focused on the psyche, or soul. ORUNMILA focuses on the ori, the inner head. And in society, Socrates was the gadfly, always challenging the status quo, while ORUNMILA acts as the witness of fate, stepping in as a guide and counselor. Two totally different yet absolutely brilliant ways to approach a truthful life. Let's bring this home in Section 3, Upgrading Your Operating System, the practicality of Ifa today. So, what does all of this ancient wisdom mean for us right now, in the modern world? Well, it turns out it's incredibly relevant. This isn't just some abstract ivory tower theory. Ifa gives us a highly practical framework for resolving conflicts in real time. It offers tangible tools for managing mental health by helping you map out exactly where you fit within the wider cosmos. It's a holistic system. It actually integrates your psychology, your ecological environment, and your personal destiny into something you practice every single day. It's literally an operating system designed to help humans thrive.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. When you look at this incredible system, what grabs you the most? Is it the absolute, uncompromising focus on personal character and Iwa Pele? Or is it that complex, active concept of destiny and having to align with your Ori? It completely reframes how we look at success and purpose, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today. And hey, keep questioning your own operating system.